Hello everyone. So we will talk about the Regulating Act. So what is Regulating Act? And who is regulating whom? What is the purpose of the Regulating Act? Can someone answer? What is the Regulating Act? Very good. So here the British Parliament is regulating the East India Company. So now the question is, what is the requirement of this company to be regulated? Why did the British Parliament feel that it should bring an act called as Regulating Act and regulate this company? What was the reason to regulate it? Because it was functioning from 1765, right, as an administrative unit. Correct, after the Battle of Buxar, it is functioning itself as an autonomous administrative unit also. So, and why did the British Parliament intervene within the administrative affairs of the company is the question. Any answers?
Before East India Company, when it comes to right? So it just perform only commercial purposes.
No. See, let us see what are the reasons behind regulating this. Okay, so I say there was a administrative, financial and a ethical crisis as well. So what do we mean by administrative crisis that the East India Company had undergone? So after 1765, Robert Clive introduced what is known as the dual government, under which the administrative rule, that is the revenue collection, was with the East India Company and the Nizamati right was with the Nawab. So this was very tough for the people also and for the administrators themselves. So with respect to administration, East India Company was facing numerous issues, plus within administration there was corruption as well. So corruption and mismanagement of this administration led to a administrative crisis. Then what about financial crisis? So we know that East India Company had taken huge loans, not just from the British government but also from the Bank of England. So East India Company at this point of time when the act was passed was facing huge debts. Okay, moreover, during this point of time in 1770s, Bengal was facing severe famines. Okay, so millions of people had died actually. So what was the major revenue? They had to collect tax, right? Land revenue. From where will they collect land revenue if the agriculture is not happening? So there's a revenue deficit as well, huge loans. British government wanted to intervene because there were tons and tons of teas that were simply rotting in the warehouses of the East India Company. Are you understanding? So East India Company purchased so much of tea. So the officials are corrupt, they are inefficient, not doing business properly. So this tea is simply rotting. You have invested money and not taking any benefits out of it. You are not able to pay back loan to the British government and also to the Bank of England, hence facing a financial crisis. So what are you, sorry, I'll let you know later. What do you mean by an ethical crisis? As I told you, the administrative officials within the East India Company were corrupt. Okay, so these were the reasons why the Regulating Act was brought in. So okay, now let us see what are the features of the Regulating Act. The first one, it says that the Governor of Bengal was made as the Governor General of Bengal, as all of you know it. Who was the person? It is Warren Hastings, who became the Governor General of Bengal. And one thing what we have to know about this act is, this act, which was passed by the British Parliament, was seen to bring in centralization, a tendency of centralization within the administration, and hence it made the governors of Bombay and Madras to be the subordinates of the Governor General of Bengal. So this was the first time when a decision is taken by the British Parliament in order to centralize all the powers. Are you understanding? And for the first time there was a Supreme Court that was set up in the Fort Williams or Calcutta. So with a Chief Justice and 3 judges to assist him. And moreover, this Governor General of Bengal was also assisted by a 4-member Executive Council. Correct. So these are some of the features that were associated with the Regulating Act. Apart from this, there was also a provision that was brought in which appointed something called as the Court of Directors, which had to report about the revenue, military affairs of the East India Company to the British Parliament, along with one more clause saying that this East India Company could only take 6% of its dividends, the profits from the East India Company for its expenses, until and unless it is repaying back the loan to the British government. Okay, so these were some of the restrictions imposed on the East India Company. Overall, this act can be seen in two ways. One was to control the affairs of the company, and in an indirect manner, the British government or a British Parliament slowly entering in India to control the administration in India. Okay, thank you.